Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Comics You Crave. I'm Brian West, and this is Ryan Tomlinson. And today we have a comic from Dark Horse Comics.
It is.
Bankshot, issue 1 and 2.
They're both out right now, obviously. I think Bankshot 2.
This is a 5-issue series, and we've only read this is a review of the first 2, so just FYI.
Yeah. We figured we'd give it a shot just to see if the whole series is going to be worth it.
Yep.
The writer is Alex Campi. The artist on it is ChrisCross, and he's hopefully not going to make you jump. And
what if it is like the actual ChrisCross group? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool if it's the ChrisCross brothers. And the colorist is Snakebite Cortez. So I'm wondering if that's its real name, but we'll find out.
Maybe.
So, like Brian said, this is a 5-issue miniseries. We read the first 2.
And what would you say this comic is about, Ryan?
There's a guy that's got a lot of money.
Marcus King.
And Marcus King,
he's find some good artwork.
Some people think he's a terrorist. And apparently he steals from rich people that do bad things, it seems like. I think that's about it. It's
And there's nanobots involved. He gets superpowers.
Yes, because he was paralyzed. And then he got like some 1980s nanobots shoved into him.
That was one of my more favorite parts of this in the comic, is when he got the nanobots.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy
it's
Russian.
Like introduced, like he just starts talking to this Russian guy. And he's like, so what'd you do? He's like, well, I made nanobots when I was in Russia. And then they, got rid of the lab. He's like, here, let me inject some in you.
Yeah. And he's like, those nanobots are kind of big. And he's like, it was the 80s. Yeah. So, that's the basic synopsis. So, he takes a mission to go kill somebody. We don't really know who yet. And we don't really know a lot, because honestly, the first 2 issues do not give you a lot of information. The synopsis is he's kind of supposed to be a Robin Hood type, where he robs from the rich and gives to the poor, but we don't see any of that. Pretty much we just see a guy who's a billionaire because he stole a bunch of bonds accidentally. Yeah. I don't know. My confusion with this is the first 2 issues are very confusing with the story. It jumps around a lot. It does not give you a lot of detail. And it asks you to care a lot about characters that they don't really establish very well.
Yeah, and I had a hard time getting into it, honestly. It's like, usually I'm pretty lenient on comics that know it's like a story that's got to develop, but I don't know why. It was just... Well, I'm trying to think of it, a nice way of saying it, but it's just, the story just didn't do it for me.
I feel
what I have to say.
I feel you right away. I will say the second issue I thought moved better, but the first issue was really... I finished it, and I'm just like... I had almost no interest to read the second one. Marcus King, the hero of this series, or this 5-issue miniseries, is very kind of unlikable, honestly. He doesn't really stand out, and what does stand out is kind of just, all right, this guy's supposed to be a hero. There's no qualities that he shows of why he should be a hero, right? The best part about this, in my opinion, was the first few pages when people were recounting Marcus King of, he's like this super agent, everyone's scared of him, he beat a bunch of people up, he did all these crazy things, and you're like, ooh, this sounds really good. Yeah. But then when you actually meet the character, he's just kind of blah. I mean, there's nothing really about him that makes you go, he's good, bad, or even really likable.
I did like the artwork.
Oh, the artwork's great.
It was really good. Like the background scenery and everything is really beautifully done. The coloring is really nice.
Here's just a kind of sample of some of the artwork here. It's very detailed. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Big bold pages.
Yeah. It's pretty... I mean, there's no fault in the artwork. It's just the story just doesn't do it for me. If you're really into like spy thriller kind of stuff, even then, I don't even know if I would suggest people to pick this up.
By the end of here's the thing. By the end of the second comic, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, so I guess if you really want to read it, you want to know, but turn away, I guess. You find out he's kind of a superhero. The nanobots have given him powers, not just the ability to walk, but he has powers. there is no lead up to that at all. You don't. It's just, and like to your point, if it's a spy novel, it wants to be Jason Bourne, but it's not. I guess my biggest problem with this is the fact that the characters are just not interesting, and that's the sad part.
Yeah, and I think that another thing about this comic is that this is not a. It seems like something that you have to have all at once. It's going to be something that it'll be much better as a trade paperback than it will as an issue by issue basis. Because at least for like right now,
and that may be true, but I do believe that if you are asking somebody to buy a comic book, that first issue has to have something that hooks you, and it just doesn't have anything that really hooks you other than the artwork is very solid, and there's a lot of dead people and guts flying everywhere, right? But there's just nothing that made me want to read the second one. I hope it gets better. It has some promise. But with a lack of real defined characters and things that make you want to see what they do next, I'm not really sure how the next 3 issues are going to make this a really good story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just going to have to come out and say probably our first one where I just say I don't think it's worth to buy. Yeah,
no, I'm with you. If you're really big into espionage and you're just dying to read every one you can get, I guess check it out. I will say the artwork is really good, and it was my favorite part about it. But I just think the story's not strong. The characters aren't that likable. And frankly, I just didn't really care much about what was going on. And like I said, I hate to say it. I know every artist and writer puts a ton of work in these things, so I hate to give a negative review about it. But I just found it boring, honestly. So I'm with Ryan. I'm going to say it's a pass. Maybe when the trade paperback comes out, maybe when all 5 issues are out, we'll check back and see if it finishes out strong. Because I hate to sell a good story short, but from what we've read in the first 2, we're gonna here at the Geek Data Report gonna have to say pass on
Bankshot.
On Bankshot.
So
not a strong comic, people, which is disappointing.
So we'll be back next week. We have a new comic. Another one that I found that I'm a little bit excited about, so we'll see how that one goes. This one.
All right. Well, until then, though, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Read lots of comics; they're good for you.
Yes.